Hey, this is Don from Padlock Technologies with another video. Want to talk about the ticking time bomb that is sitting in your environment right now, aka your firewall. Now, why do I say the firewall is a ticking time bomb? Well, there's a plethora of reasons why your firewall is a ticking time bomb, but I'm gonna give you the top three. Now, this is based on a lot of firewall assessments, a lot of rescue missions that I have done myself when it comes to this ticking time bomb called the firewall. So, ticking time bomb problem number one: you are not on the latest version of code. Corporations are slow. Let's just be honest. Corporate IT, they're very slow to make changes because the goal of IT is to facilitate business or help facilitate business, not to be the quickest to make changes or necessary changes. Um, I have gone into multiple environments where, let's say, I'll do FTDs for now because Palos, I've seen the same problem. Fortinet's same problem. They're all the same problem, but I want to talk about the FTD. So right now, I think the code that is gold standard is like 742. May have changed as of this video. And then I go for an assessment and people on 6X. That's literally like the first version when the FTD actually came out. And then they're blaming the FTD saying it's a bad product and not the fact that you did not manage the firewall. You did not do proper due care. You didn't do the maintenance on the firewall. There are so many exploits and issues with the 6X code that has been remediated in the gold image. But, engineers get busy, IT teams get busy, and the last thing they actually want to touch is the firewall. Um, so that's rule number one, or time bomb number one, is you are running an old version of code that you know is old, but you're so scared to make a change or do an upgrade, or you're so busy that you just let it run on what is run. I know a lot of businesses say, hey, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it, right? And they always get burned later on down the line because the first thing when something happens is they're going to say, what version of code was this thing on? Oh, it's on 6X. Well, here's the exploits and issues that's on 6X. You should have went to 7X. And because you didn't do that, hey, cyber security insurance, we're not covering that. And I've seen that happen to a very big company. Due to NDA reasons, I can't really tell you the name of this company, but I've seen the company do not uh, take a recommendation and then get burned. And, they had a cybersecurity insurance issue where they had to go back and forth with their insurance company because they were not trying to pay it. So that's time bomb number one. Time bomb number two actually rolls off of time bomb number one is um, lack of management and too many chefs in the kitchen, right? When it comes to firewalls, how many I don't know, I'm going to date myself here too as well. Um, how many firewall engineers right now are network engineers right now? Because usually the firewall guy is also the networking guy, which you got to be careful with that because they're two uh, different mindsets, right? Networking and security are two different things. Don't let anybody tell you it's the same. So, how many firewalls have any of you guys gone in? And this happens all the time when I do my audits and assessments for multiple companies. And I say, why is that rule there? Or who created that rule? There's no change request, ticket. There's nothing from a cab, nothing that can correlate this rule to some type of policy change. And the answer I get is, well, I wasn't here when that firewall rule was put in. Or I don't know. Uh, and then the manager's looking at the engineer's looking at the manager, they both don't know. And I'm like, okay, so you have a bunch of junk in your firewall that you want to migrate into the new firewall. Yeah, you might want to clean that up before you just dump garbage into the new platform. Garbage in equals garbage out, right? And a lot of people are migrating garbage into a new platform and never going back and cleaning it up, or they have some type of rule that is going to cause a security breach that they don't know about because they're not auditing the rules. They're not seeing what rules are being hit frequently, um, or what rules are not even being hit at all, but are still turned on. Like, here's the thing. If you're not using the rule needs to be disabled. It doesn't have to be deleted. Not yet. Now I have a rule here. Disable before you delete. And I always say, disable, see who yells, no one yells, delete it. Right? And that goes with anything. That goes with firewalls, ICE, same rules apply. I'm gonna disable it first. If no one yells, then I'm gonna delete it afterwards, right? Because you can usually do 30, 60, 90, right? No one yells in 30 days, okay. 60 days, okay. At the 90th day, we're deleting this rule because nobody said anything. So bad firewall policy management is ticking time bomb number 2. So what else is there? So ticking time bomb number 3, and this goes back to a previous video that I did about design. That's ticking time bomb number 3, and that's probably the most important one. You have a bad design altogether in the firewall. Like, your firewall design is just completely jacked up. You shouldn't have built it that way, right? So the upgrade doesn't matter, the policies doesn't matter, the configuration doesn't matter. If your design is fundamentally flawed in the beginning, everything else doesn't matter. Case in point, if you have a firewall sandwich, right, which is you have, a set of firewalls at the top, and then all of a sudden you have a set of firewalls at the right behind it for some odd reason, right? That could mess up, certain situations like HA, right? HA happens, and then there's something downstream that's causing, intermittent traffic issues because the firewall pair downstream doesn't work with the firewall pair upstream, right? I've seen that happen as well. So fundamentally, man, you got to make sure your firewall design is right and working like flawlessly, right? The design comes first before anything, right? If you don't do these 3 things at a bare minimum, right? Configuration is, I would say time bomb number 4, right? If you didn't configure it right, it's bound to fail from the beginning, right? If you're doing stupid configurations or just bad design altogether, like, it doesn't matter about upgrades, it doesn't matter about policy management. It was doomed to fail from the beginning. So those are the things that I see the most when I deal with these clients. And it's not like a rarity thing. Like, this is most of the time when I do an assessment or an audit of a client's firewall. I usually find these 3 to 4 ticking time bombs, and it's only a matter of time before something bad happens. And it was because of one of these 4 things. All right. So hopefully that was informative. Again, keep sending me those questions. I'm going to give you some answers here. But hey, if you are a victim of any of these 4, you need to change it now, because I can guarantee you, and I don't like guaranteeing a lot of things, but I can also always guarantee you that if you are suffering from these 4 things, you are sitting on a time bomb, and it will explode at the wrong time. And as a, engineer, I want to speak for the engineering people. You do not want that 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning phone call because your firewall blew up and now nobody can work. All right. This is Don from Padlock Technologies. Don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully this was informative. Thank you and have a nice day.